So I decided to do my final presentation on America turning a new leaf on marijuana. Some background information are that marijuana was accepted in medicine and over-the-counter products in 1840s. Recreational use of marijuana began around the 1920s, and it was introduced by the Mexican immigrants when they came to the US. And then around the 1930s, that's when people began to fear marijuana because of its recreational use, and through the media, how they were talking about how marijuana would just like promote lust for blood and violent crimes and all that. There are many types of marijuana out there, but the two main ones are CBD and THC. So for the first one, is called CBD, which is short for cannabidiol. That was discovered in 1940, and it's mainly used for medicinal purposes, and it also doesn't give you the high feeling, unlike THC, which we'll get into in a little bit. Some benefits of CBD include it helps relieve anxiety, depression, PTSD, OCD, and neurological disorders like schizophrenia. It also helps relieve pain, and it also helps fight cancer. So with using CBD, it will also fight the cancer cells, slow down the growth of it, and could even kill some of the cancer cells. It does treat seizures, and it is a treatment for epilepsy. Now, there is a few drawbacks of CBD, and one of them is that it isn't widely available, so you would have to go to a state that legalized marijuana to get some. CBD is not FDA approved in treating anxiety and depression, but it is FDA approved that it treats epilepsy. And 1 in 5 CBD products contain THC. We'll get into THC in the next slide, a little bit more about what THC is, and you can also test positive in a drug test. So THC is another part of marijuana, and that THC stands for tetrahydrocannabinol. This is the drug that's most responsible for the psychological effects. It is also the most commonly illicit drug used in the world. THC is what gets you high, and it also induces hallucination. It also changes the way you think, and it can cause delusions as well. So some benefits of using THC include it reduces pain, and it relaxes the muscles, and it also reduces muscle spasms as well. It is an antidepressant and anti-inflammatory, and it also increases appetite. Now, for someone who has a disorder specifically that has to deal with food related, this will benefit them the most, because if they start smoking THC, it does make you hungry, and then when someone who has an eating disorder starts to smoke that and then start eating more, they'll get healthier. They're getting the nutrients, and they will just feel better about themselves. Some drawbacks of THC include it is an increase in anxiety. So someone who does have bad anxiety should not take that because it pretty much will heighten that feeling or the thoughts that you have. It causes paranoia, dizziness, headaches, and nausea as well if you smoke that. Everyone's body is different, so for someone who isn't used to it, it's like a new alternative drug that they take. They could experience one of the four. It also it can lead to short-term memory loss as well, and there is an increase in mental illness amongst the youth. So that's like for someone who is young to start smoking THC, they will later down in the road start to have mental development issues. So some benefits of marijuana just overall. It treats glaucoma. It decreases the Parkinson's tremor, so it helps fight against those. It helps those who have asthma, and there's 0 deaths with the use of marijuana, so that's a good thing. But there are also some drawbacks, like you have a slower reaction time. So when you do smoke marijuana, you do feel like everything is moving a lot slower. So that's like that can be a bad thing, especially if you were driving, because if you're driving while under the influence, you don't know if a car is coming. Like you can start to hallucinate, and then just the reaction time overall, it could be like it can cause bad things. Premature birth when using marijuana. So for those who smoke marijuana and then they get pregnant, they say whatever you used to do, I guess kind of continue doing it like smoking, because if you try to quit, then you're putting a lot more stress on the baby. But with smoking marijuana while being pregnant, you have a higher chance of having a premature birth than someone who doesn't smoke. And it also can cause permanent IQ score loss up to 8 points. So why was marijuana illegal in the first place? It all started after the Mexican Revolution in 1910, the whole war going on between that. Pretty much the Mexican immigrants came to the US and then they started using marijuana as a recreational drug. Then that scared the Americans because they only used it as a for medical purposes. And then there were people began to fear that. People began to marijuana made headlines. It started rumors saying that it would, it causes violent crimes, a lust for blood, and it gives you superhuman strength, which it doesn't. And pretty much in 1937, their Marijuana Tax Act pretty much banned marijuana in all 50 states. So, and now, why legalize marijuana? If we were to legalize marijuana, we would be creating more job opportunities for those looking for jobs. You are also promoting consumer safety, because if you were to legalize marijuana, there would be more jobs, and then if someone was to go into a marijuana store dispensary, they could learn more about it. Everyone can learn more about what marijuana actually is, the different types, the benefits of it, the drawbacks of it, and just everything overall about marijuana. And right here is a picture of, you know, a timeline of state marijuana legalization laws. The red is all for medical purposes, and the blue is all for recreational purposes. And as you can see, in 1996, California was the first one to legalize marijuana for medical purposes. So, and then how will it benefit the U.S.? Pretty much it will increase in tourism, because for states that have marijuana banned, those people could travel to a different state that has it legal, and they can explore the city, and it just overall increases the tourism for those states. And tax revenues, like with more sales going on for marijuana, you guys, like the states themselves, will get a bigger tax break. And then it reduces opioid overdose, because those people will stop using like opioids and like switch over to something like marijuana, where you can't really overdose in that. And yeah.